this video I'm going to show you how to create this nighttime sky using Photoshop. So let's get started. Hey, what's up guys, Dhruval here, back with another video, and as you can see this is the final output. Now you can see from the layer panel that it's a little bit complicated but not that difficult. So this is the original one as you can see, and this is what we will create. Now to create, let's go to file menu and open the original photo. So here's the photo and open it. Now one problem I have is that there's not enough sky or room to work with because we want to add content. For that I'm gonna select a crop tool, and before you crop, turn on your content aware option, and then you can just make the canvas a little bit bigger and then simply hit enter. Because we have content aware option, Photoshop should fill it with data and we don't need to do anything. So as you can see, now the canvas is a little bit bigger. Now I want to get rid of the sky, so I'm gonna get my quick selection tool and make selection of the model, mountains and the bottom area. So everything except the sky, and then I will go and apply a layer mask. So now we only have the model. And you can do some adjustments. So as you can see, if I zoom in, it doesn't look very smooth, so you can just double click on your layer mask and it should open this options for you. So here I'm turning on the color aware mode in my refine, and then just do a little bit of click here, and then to fix this jagged edges, you can just increase your smoothness and your contrast a little bit, and it should give you decent edges, and then hit OK. I feel like I want to make the sky even bigger, so I'm gonna get my crop tool again, and we don't need content aware now. So I'm just gonna make it a little bit taller and then confirm it. Now let's add the background sky. So for that, again file, and now we will select place embedded, and I'm gonna select this photo of the sky and place it. Confirm, and this will go under the model. But wait, before we do it, we need to remove this pole. So I'm gonna first rasterize it, because if we don't rasterize it, we cannot use content aware on it. So once you rasterize your layer, I'm gonna go and select any kind of marquee tool, doesn't matter. So make selection of the pole, and then you press shift backspace or shift delete, and make sure you have content aware here, and hit OK, and it should take care of it. And let's fix this little portion here as well. And to remove the selection, you can always go to select and deselect, by the way. So that's done. Now I'm gonna put it under the model, and I will move it a little bit up so I can see that like horizon. Basically you match one horizon with another one and it matches the perspective properly. So that looks good. Now let's add the galaxy, and as you can see, now whatever I add in this photo, it will be under my model layer. So just keep that in mind. So I'm gonna again go to file, place embedded, and select photo of this galaxy and place it. Confirm it, and also let's rasterize this one as well. And then I will put this galaxy all the way here like this, and then change the blending mode of this to screen. As you can see, we can still see a little bit of like this white parts. To fix that, it's easy. Just go to your image adjustment and select levels, and then you can slide your midtones a little bit to the right, and it will take care of it. And then push it a little bit from here, so you have a brighter galaxy. That looks good, and hit OK. Now another thing I want to do is, because I know I will add a big planet here and this won't be visible, but I do want a light source. So for that, I'm gonna create like a lens flare. Create new blank layer on top of your skies, and then fill it with black color. So get your paint bucket, right click, paint bucket, and fill it with black. Then I'm gonna go to my filter, and here in the render, you should have lens flare. And personally I like 105, and I keep it in center, and then hit OK. Then take this lens flare and put it here. Change the blend mode of this lens flare to again to screen, so we can only see the light. Do the same as the galaxy. I'm gonna go to image, adjustment and levels and push this to the right a little bit and push this to the left, and you should have a really nice lens flare. Hit OK. And I also want to change the color of it. So for that, create new adjustment layer and then select hue saturation. Then turn on your clipping mask. So whatever changes we do, it will only stay on the lens flare and not the layers below it. Focus on this step because we will do it many times in this tutorial, applying an adjustment layer, then clipping it and using it. That's like the main part of this tutorial. So now I'm gonna turn on the colorize and reduce the lightness a little bit so we can actually see the colors. Then in my hue, I'm gonna make it 288, and then in my saturation, I'm gonna make it 29 so it's a bit more colorful, and the lightness -15 is okay. So this is without colors and this is with colors, and close it so we have, hey, some kind of light coming in. Now we are ready to add planet. So for that, go to file, place, and I'm gonna select photo of this earth. And before we start any like color correction, we need to get rid of this black background. So right click and rasterize again, because you cannot directly delete if you don't rasterize. So do that, then right click, magic wand tool. My tolerance is 26, that should be more than enough. And then you click on this black part and simply delete or use your backspace key and it should be okay. Then Control D to remove the selection. Now let's make this a little bit smaller, so Control D. Looks good. Now let's apply some layer style on it to blend it better. So for that, you can double click on your layer here and you have these options. So first I'm gonna apply inner glow. So in the inner glow, for settings, I'm using a screen blend mode with 72 opacity. And for the color, I have a look in mind. So I want some kind of magenta, cyanish blend of colors. So that's what I'm gonna use throughout the video. So for this one, if you want the code, you can see it here. And then for the size, I'm using 120 and everything is like default. Then I'm also gonna apply outer glow. So turn on your outer glow and it's screen, but this time opacity is 49 and the color is a little bit different, but if you use the same color it doesn't matter, like it doesn't make that big difference. So this is the code for this color, and then size is 213 and everything else is default. And now we will apply a gradient overlay. So for gradient, I'm using a normal blend mode with 74 opacity, and in the gradient style, so when you click on it, you will have this basic gradient. So there should be one that goes from a color to transparent, like there should be a color here and nothing here. So I'm using a black color here, and again little bit of cyan color here, as you can see. So you can change the color from here, and I'm using it reverse. So normally it will be like this, but if you put it on reverse, it should look like this. Angle is -49 and scale is 50, and hit OK. But I also wanted to change overall color of the planet a little bit as well. So again, I'm gonna use my hue saturation. But before we do, you know what, let's rename it a little bit so we don't get confused. So this is the small planet. Okay, I'm not gonna rename it again. Create new adjustment layer and select hue saturation and turn on your clipping mask. So for hue, I'm gonna make it -42. And I'm gonna add a little bit of lightness. So that looks good. Now let's add the ring around it. So for that, again, go to file, place, and I found photo of this Saturn. So you can just place it here, and you can reduce the opacity a little bit so you can see what's going on in the background. And I'm gonna rotate it like this. Then you change the blend mode of Saturn to screen and make the opacity 100 again so we can see it properly. Now we need to get rid of the actual Saturn and use only the rings. So for that, you can use eraser, rasterize it, eraser, whatever. Let's try layer mask this time. So I'm gonna apply a layer mask, then get the brush, and I am using a hardness of 50-60%, and color should be black because we want to erase. So then you can go and erase it. Looks pretty good. Now we can change the color of the rings so it matches the planet. So again, new hue saturation, clipping mask, and colorize. So in the hue I'm using 207. Then in the saturation I'm making it 67, so the color is a bit more visible. And then in the lightness I'm gonna make it -31 and close it. Looks really good. Now we can group everything. So first of all, let's rename it to rings. I'm not gonna change it. So click your hue saturation on the top and then your small planet. So you have everything selected like this, and then press Ctrl G to group it. So now this is your small planet. And now I'm gonna apply a layer mask on this. Because see, this is the thing, if I keep it like this, it doesn't look that much in the distance. So if I apply a layer mask and use a really soft brush, so hardness should be 0%, and then make your brush a little bit bigger and then just do a click like this. So it automatically makes it feel little bit in the distance. Now we can make the bigger planet. So that's actually even easier. So do you know we have already the small planet, right? So you can make copy of it, press Ctrl J. Now don't move this copy because it's connected to the clipping mask, so don't change it, but we have the original small planet, right? So you can simply take that one and put it outside of your group like this. So now if I use my move tool, we have a copy of it, right? So now let's change it to big planet, and let's make it big. So you can press Command T and make it big like this. So that's the big planet. Now the layer style will be same, only changes will be in gradient overlay. So when you double click on your gradient overlay, you can directly edit it. So this time in the opacity, I'm gonna make it 100. It will be reversed the same linear, but I will change the angle now. I'll make it -96. So it's coming from the bottom and we can only see a little bit of top. And scale, I'm gonna make it 56 and then hit OK. Now it looks a bit strange, but when we add aurora on top, it will look better. So we go to File, Place, and I have this photo of this aurora, and you can place it here. Something like this. And then change the blend mode of this to screen again. So we can have it something like this. Now for the rest of the area, you can just use eraser or layer mask, I don't care. So I'm gonna use layer mask, brush with black color, and erase the areas that I don't need. Don't worry about the bottom portion because that will be covered in clouds. So this looks good. Now let's apply some color correction on the aurora. Let's rename it first. Then new, but this time I'm gonna actually use selective colors. But it's the same logic, apply a clipping mask. Now the major colors in this aurora are like green and bit of cyan, I guess. So first let's start with the green. So here I'm gonna make 100% in the magenta, and then in the blacks I'm also gonna make it 100. Then I'm gonna go to my cyan. Here I'm gonna make it -22 in the cyan, again 100 in the magenta, and then -100 in the yellow. So you will have this really cool bluish look that goes well with the photo. And then close it. I'm actually gonna make the aurora a little bit bigger. Now let's add some atmosphere, and for that create a layer on top of everything but under your model, and then I'm gonna select some kind of green cyanish color, hit OK, and make sure you have a really soft brush and you can just paint it like this. Then you can change the blend mode of this layer to linear light here, and reduce the opacity so it can blend a little bit better. And then you go to image, adjustment, and hue saturation, and here you mess around with the settings until it looks a little bit better. So now it looks nice. Hit OK. So that's the first atmosphere. Now we can add the clouds. So for the clouds, again, file, place, select this photo of clouds and place it. So it's rotated, so you can just hold your shift key and then rotate it like this. And let's make it a bit small. Now I only want the clouds at the bottom. So again, I'm just gonna rasterize it. Then right click, select quick selection tool, and then make selection of the clouds. It doesn't have to be perfect because these are clouds. You don't need to worry about them. Now I want to delete what's on the outside, not the clouds, right? So I'm gonna select and inverse it. So the outside area is selected, and then you can just delete or backspace, whatever. Control D. And then I'm gonna put the clouds at the bottom here like this. Looking pretty good. Now we can do some color correction on the clouds. For that, again, this time I'm gonna select color balance as my adjustment layer, turn on the clipping mask, and we will do all the changes in the midtones. So this will stay 0, but here I'm gonna add a little bit of magenta. So you can make it -27. And then here I'm gonna add a little bit of blue. So I'm gonna make it 39. So without color correction, with color correction. Now I'm gonna add one more atmosphere. So again, create new blank layer on top of your clouds. And here I'm gonna get my brush tool, and I need some kind of magenta purplish color. So I'm gonna go to my color picker, and if you want the exact code for this one, it's A25DC7. So this is the color. Hit OK. And again, I'm just gonna paint with a really soft brush like this. Then I'm gonna change the blend mode of this to screen and opacity to 65. So now we have even more atmosphere. So it gives it like a more blending as well. So the basic setup for the background is ready. Now we need to match the model with the background. So for that, now we will do all the changes in the model. So activate your model first, new adjustment and hue saturation, clipping mask. So I'm gonna make it a little bit desaturated, so -17, and of course we need to make it darker because we're going for a night look. So I'm gonna make it -60. Now I'm gonna add some color balance as well. So here, go and select your color balance, turn on clipping mask, and I'm again gonna do changes in the midtones. So I'm gonna add a little bit of red, not too much, then add a lot of magenta, obviously, because that's the look we're going for, and then little bit of blue, not too much, just a little bit, and close it. Then I'm gonna go and add levels. So turn on your levels. So at this point the image is a little bit too dark and muddy, so this levels will help us fix that. So here I'm gonna make 4. Then for the midtones, I'm gonna make it 1.30. So now it's a little bit brighter, but not too much. And this will be 255. And this is the change that will affect the most. So in your output levels, I'm gonna make it somewhere around like 10 to 15. So let's make it 15. So this is without levels and this is with levels. So it helps bring out a little bit more information. Now I'm gonna add hue saturation again. So create new adjustment, hue saturation. So the reason for doing it again is because I wanna change some of the hues, but only in the selected areas. So I'm gonna create a clipping mask, and then in the hue, I'm gonna make it -53. So everything is this weird color, but I don't want that to affect the model. So I'm gonna keep my brush with black color and erase that from the model like this. Maybe not too much, so I'm gonna change it to white again and add it here. But that's the thing. So this is without and this is with. So the entire setup is ready and we can finally apply some overall color correction. So for that I'm using just one layer. Create new adjustment layer and select curves, and don't make it a clipping mask because I want it to affect everything. So first I'm gonna do the classic S curve. So add little bit of brightness here and then make it a little bit dark here like this. And then I'm gonna lift up my shadows from here a little bit so it's not too flat. Then I'm gonna go to my blues and make it a little bit more blue like this, but at the same time keep it down here like this. Then I'm gonna go to my greens and add little bit of magenta, not too much, just a little. And then go back to my RGB and play with the settings until it looks more clean. And that's it. This is how I created this night sky using Photoshop. So I hope you found this video useful. If you did, hit that like button. And if you wanna check out more content by me, you can subscribe to my channel. And you can also hit that notification icon. So every time I upload a new video, you will get an update. So see you next time. Until then, goodbye, take care, and have some fun with Photoshop.